Hi everyone, this is Renee from Find Your Light, and I'm doing a video about the modifications I've made to the mass market edition of The Wild Unknown. When I got the deck, I had a little bit of trouble connecting with some of the imagery. It was just a little too stark for me. I know a lot of people really love this deck just the way it is, and that's perfectly fine, but I wanted to add some color which I associate with the meanings of the cards. So I'm just going to go through them in batches, and I know this isn't the greatest camera to see what I'm talking about, but it's the best that I could do. I'll try to make it a little darker. So in this card, the Mother of Cups, I made her cup rainbow and I added to the stars. I added a green and blue kind of falling on those swords. I added more rainbow to that spiral. The Emperor card, I changed a lot. I added a lot of color. This card, I might not have added anything to this card. I added to the leaves. I don't think I added anything to this card. This is the Death card. This card was really important for me to add color to it because I do believe that death is also about creation. This card, I added that splash of light as kind of a glimmer of hope, even when things seem lost. So that's the first batch. I added a tiny bit of color to the flowers. I added to the wands and to the butterfly. I made the cups yellow. I added to the worms. I added a ton of color to the Empress. I added purple to the cups, a tiny bit of pink to the flowers and leaves. I added blue. I added to the sun and the moon. And I added, I'm gonna darken that a little. And I added to the swords in this card. So I didn't really need, I didn't want, like I said, I didn't want to change the deck. And you can pause it if you want. You can get a better look. I don't know if it's better for me to talk about it as I go or anyway. The card stock on the mass market edition, is such that it takes Prismacolor colored pencils readily. It takes it really well. Some decks you could not do this. High gloss decks you could not add to them. So in this card I added extensively to the key. I added to the cups. I added a lot to the spider web. I added more yellow and orange. I added a lot of green to this card. I added to the rat's tail. I added rainbow colors to the cups. I added green and yellow and to her ears, some green. I added green to this plant, and I added orange to that. So after I added color to this deck, all of a sudden it started just singing to me. And what I find interesting, I don't really know much about the creator and her process, because when she was creating this deck, I was not in the know. I was not in the tarot community. Actually, I didn't do anything to this card or this one. But what I find interesting, the cards I'm not showing you are the cards I didn't add any color to. Oh, so what I was saying is, what I find interesting is that her animal spirit, the Wild Unknown animal spirit, is way more colorful. And I really love that deck, and I have no need to add any color to that deck. So let me just... So I added to the mountains. I added to these elements with the elemental colors, although the cups being yellow, I added yellow to those cups, so it had to stick with that. I added a lot to this tower, as you'll know if you've seen the tower. I added to the rainbow stars. I added to the center. I made the tortoise green. I added to the eggs. I made the geese pink. I added water under the Father of Cups, and I added more to that rainbow. What am I at? Oh, not too bad. So, yeah, her animal spirit oracle deck, I didn't feel the need to add to at all. So, everybody has different ways of connecting with things and different methods that they go about it. And this was just mine. And I was speaking with another tarot reader, and she said she would be interested. I wish I remember the name of her channel, but I don't remember it right offhand, and I don't have my stuff with me. So I added a lot of color to this card. I actually don't think I added anything to this card. I added rainbow colors to that. I added yellow to the steps of this card, and I added color. I made the leaves green. I added water. I added to the court cards of the swords, and I made the leaf green, and then these little yellow, and I added a lot of the swords. I wanted them to kind of glow, and then the rainbow colors. So we're almost done. Again, this is just for people who are interested in maybe connecting, you know, more with their deck, or they just like to add color to their decks. And this is not that expensive of a deck. If you mess it up, you could just get another one. I wouldn't do this with like a first edition or anything like that. This particular card, I really like the addition there. I added green to this. I added a lot of red to the Chariot. This is a really important card. I added rainbow to his horns, or the buffalo's horns, because for me, the 10 of Swords is an ending, but sometimes, as painful as endings are, they allow something new to come. So I needed that in this card, otherwise it's just way too stark for me. I added purple to the moon card, yellow. I added orange to the horns, orange to the horns, orange to his head, and then I already talked about that one. This Wild Unknown deck is actually really, I'm sorry, I didn't plug my mic in because I wasn't even sure if this was going to work. This Wild Unknown deck actually, I think subconsciously, was one of the decks, oh, I didn't add anything to that, that helped me start to move away from the Rider-Waite. And for that reason alone, I really appreciate it. Yeah, I didn't add any to these cards either. So this is the last bit. So I added to the beak of this one, and the moon, and underneath of it. This one was an important one for me to add to. This one I added a lot to because, again, the starkness of the card, I needed to infuse it with a little more life. These wands I put orange on. There's a lot of orange in this card. I thought this rose was so cute for the strength. And so I made, I highlighted that. The fox, again, I highlighted it. I highlighted the body of the butterfly, and I added some orange to the wands. Most of my additions have to do with either the element or the message of the card, and also giving it a more full meaning. So I hope that you enjoyed that if you're interested in the Wild Unknown and modifying it to better suit your needs. Okay, bye.